Hi, I was having a conversation with Michael earlier, and we were talking about NLP loops. And he was telling me how excited he is about some very special skills he's been learning from his mentor, Harlan Kilstein. And when he spoke with Harlan, he told him he wasn't just interested in learning the shell of NLP. He wanted to get at the nut inside, right into the kernel of the nut. And what he said next was very profound, which reminds me of one of the books I've been reading recently, a book called Therapeutic Metaphors by David Gordon. Highly recommended if you like telling stories with NLP, but it's not for the faint of heart. In the prologue, the book defines metaphors in its simplest terms as a way to describe one thing in terms of another. And I wondered if the author didn't like animals very much, because the example he gave as a simple metaphor was there is more than one way to skin a cat. I mean, can you imagine what it would be like to skin a cat? Why would anyone want to skin a cat? What kind of a person would do that? I mean, why not just say there's more than one way to do this? Why do you need to skin a cat to explain something? And then I remembered there are two ways that we learn things by, broadly. One, by repetition and logic, and two, by experience and intuition. Whilst the structure of the learning to the unconscious remains the same, however we come to learn it. Here's the thing. We often learn experientially and emotionally much quicker than we learn by logic and repetition. And we represent our experiences internally as journeys using sensory-rich language. So how do we make them stick more easily so we can consciously remember them? Well, it turns out that the more repulsive something is, the more likely we are to remember it. Think of a child burning his hand on a hot stone. How many times will he need to do that in order to learn the lesson? For most of us, one tiny little burn is all it takes for us to realize that hot stoves are dangerous. And what we discovered is the more grotesque and emotionally disturbing an image, a sound, a feeling is, the more likely we are to remember it. Mercifully, it's not necessary for most children to burn themselves badly in order for them to learn that a hot stove is something dangerous, thanks to the guidance, patience, wisdom, and repetitive warnings they get from their parents. And there are also other ways for us to learn without having to skin a cat. Now remember, going back to my conversation with Michael about his meeting with Harlan. When they spoke, he said, "Not only will you be able to do this, you will be able to teach it." And that, dear viewer, is what covert hypnosis is all about. And it's exactly why we're inviting you to come along for the ride, to take this opportunity to learn something new and to get beyond the shell of NLP and right inside into the kernel of the nut. Now, I don't want you to get too excited just yet, because we can only offer this program to 10 people at a time. So if you would like to apply and be considered for the program, you can click on the link below to join our waiting list. And Michael will get in touch with you when we have a slot available. Thank you.